sure it is long past time for me to be pruning, but I get busy and I forget. And so out here now, while we're watering, and I'm just going to take a few minutes to clean a few things up. This angle in between these branches is very narrow, and ideally you get rid of branches like that, because if this grows out, it's not going to be able to hold the weight of a full fruit branch. So we're going to take it off right there, regardless of whatever is ahead of it. So another thing that I'm going to look at, the same thing right here. Even this offshoot of my main branch, which is 2 feet long, if this thing grows, it's going to snap. If it grows any fruit, it's just going to break right off. So this one comes off. You can see that I definitely waited too. So these clusters that we have at the end, this cluster of leaves and branches, that can come off. Let's clean this up and then we'll see where we end up. And here's another couple of good examples. You remember, this is the tree that I've got the rust blight on, and some of these are getting really bad, and I can use this as an opportunity to go ahead and just take off a lot of the diseased area. Again, I still have to treat it this fall, but it's a good start. All right, so that's probably where I'm going to leave it for now. There's a lot more that I could take off, but I still want to try and get some fruit out of this season. These trees were neglected for the first couple years, and mainly what I'm doing now with all of them is trying to control the damage and trying to get them back to being healthy. I don't want to just rip them out and start all over. So I'll do a little bit of damage control now, and then again we're going to come back in the fall with all these trees, and we're going to get them treated for the various things that they have, various issues, and all of this stuff will be able to go over to the chickens and let them have a little snacky snack. Taking a look at our plum tree, there's going to be a lot that's going to come off of here. We're going to knock this down, a lot of it. Again, we don't want branches to cross. I don't know if you can see that, the branches cross there. You want to minimize really tight angles that come off of the branch, because they won't support the weight. And then clusters of stuff that come off, which I really don't see any right now. Anyway, so I'm gonna knock this out and we'll see where we end up. I don't know how well they're gonna come up on camera, but it's about time to put the chickens away, because I've got 3 hawks circling my yard right now, and we've already lost I think 4 to hawks. Anyway, I'm still working on this plum tree here. There's a lot in the middle of this thing that can be cut out. Mainly, so I am not an expert in a lot of the things that I do. Pruning trees is one of the things that I am not great at, even though I've done it for a long time. A lot of times I forget, and by the time I get out here, it's a mess. So if you really want good instruction, there's a ton on YouTube. It's easy to find. But mainly what I wanted to illustrate with the little bit of work that I'm doing today, we're heading into Memorial Day. There's always work to be done. I mean, I was out here this morning watering the garden, and now I'm still watering the garden, and you know, the chickens are out doing their thing, and I got trees to prune and trees to water, and I haven't really made a dent in the amount of work yet. But the point was that if you want to do this and you want to grow your own stuff and you want to have animals, whatever, there's always work. There are no vacation days. I mean, every now and then, you know, you get a break, but you got to remember you're taking care of them so they can take care of you. And okay, I gotta go. All right, I'm out here working on this peach tree, and we still have some of this peach leaf curl, and everything that I had that came from the pear and the plum trees, those went to the chickens. But remember, part of what we're doing when we're pruning, if you've got anything that's diseased, it's a great chance to get rid of it. So we know that this tree has peach leaf curl, which is a fungus and prevents us from being able to compost the leaves or use them as mulch or do anything else. We also don't want to drop them on the ground or leave them on the ground because that fungus will migrate. So while I was able to take the clippings, the other clippings that I had, and feed them to the chickens, I cannot do that with this. So if you have different varieties of fruit trees, that's something that you have to keep in mind. So I had to empty everything and then come back and prune this tree so that that could all go in the garbage. Otherwise I would have had to toss it all. So just one of those things to keep in mind when you are doing things. All right, so we got the chickens wrangled, and I realized I had talked about this before a little bit, but we have grass to clip now. And one of the things that I mentioned is I put my grass clippings in the chicken run. I mean, there's about 4 inches worth of grass clippings there. Now, the purpose of this, number one, it keeps the chickens from doing as much of this as they do, scratching down into the dirt and all that. Number two, it helps to control the stench a little bit. I don't necessarily notice it, but every now and then my neighbors get a wild hair and they'll say something, but it soaks up all the chicken poop. Number three is they compost all this for me. So I will throw all these clippings in here throughout the course of spring and summer and let the chickens scratch it around. Food gets in it, they poop in it, and then what I do is I'll rake it out and I can put it into the compost bin at that point, or sometimes it's broken down enough that I can just get some fine dirt out of it and we'll use that as soil amendment, usually not directly on the raised beds, but if there's an area that I've got a bare spot in the grass or something where I need a little help, or I want to put some seeds down and give it a covering, this stuff works great. Nothing grows in here. The chickens eat everything, so I don't really have problems spreading this and then getting weeds if I just use regular grass clippings that are fresh. So there's a few things. And then, you know, if we get a rainstorm, you know, we had 6 or 8 inches of water over the past few weeks. I think there's still some water sitting out in low spots out there, but it helps absorb the water, and it gives the muck a little bit of sponge-like texture, so it helps to hold on to it, which you would think you don't want. You don't want to hold on to the water and make it like a soup, but what it does is when you have to come and walk in here, it helps keep it from getting torn up. And even with the chickens, it helps keep them from tearing it all up as bad. So anyhow, just a short aside on things that we do.